I've never actually heard your voice, so it's
Oh, okay.
probably in real life.
Well, same to you. Are we live yet, Joel? Because I was refreshing the YouTube page, but... So now let's yell some profanities. Oh. And then the YouTube algorithm will just automatically ban you.
Does it? Okay.
Oh, it's the end of the song. Oh my god, I was just singing along there, singing a lovely tune. Cause oh lordy, it's El Presidente, El Dia de los Presidentes. I don't know how to say President's Day in Spanish. It's President's Day in these United States. And by the way, I don't think a single person I know takes this holiday seriously at all, even one little bit. I don't think anybody I know takes this holiday seriously, but some of you got it off because it's a holiday. I found that out yesterday. Some people have this day off, which I thought was a little bit odd, because the daycare's closed, and Victoria didn't have to go to work today. So those two are out having fun. They are out there having fun in the sun, doing their thing, getting wild, being a couple of kookaloos out there on a day off where stuff's not open. I don't know what they're doing. They went to lunch, I guess, and I think they're hanging out somewhere. Apparently today's a holiday, as far as I know. Today is President's Day. Yeah, is today President's Day, right? Monday, February 21st. Of this year, 2022. Welcome to President's Day in 2022. Very, like, what's the point? I don't understand what the point is. I guess we're supposed to be remembering the presidents today, which is a weird vibe. Weird vibes. Let's be real here. Weird vibes. Why don't we vote today? Why don't we vote on President's Day? Why don't we vote on this holiday? A bunch of people got the day off. Nobody knows why we got the day off. But yeah, why don't we vote? Why isn't today a voting holiday? That would be way cooler in the year 2022. I believe we voted 2 weeks ago on what did we vote on? School levies and stuff. A couple weeks ago. That was our investment in these United States. Joel, I know you may have talked about it a few dozen times, but what are some decent, affordable cameras that are good for live streaming? To be brutally honest with you, the best live streaming cameras that you can get, and there's going to be a lot of tutorials out there. I just expanded my streaming window to gigantic size instead of just moving it over here. There we go. The best streaming cameras that you're going to find is going to be a plug and play. Let me find one for you. Webcam. So the one that the one that I recommend to people is that you shouldn't be too concerned about going to 4K unless there's an affordable 4K streaming camera option for you, which generally there aren't that many, to be brutally honest. Which is the one that okay, this one happens to be 4K. It's like $150. It's an older Logitech one, but it's the one that I stream Alyssa when we dual stream. Alyssa is on this camera right here. And oh, by the way, just so you know, this is an Amazon affiliate link, so it gives us a commission if you go to Amazon through that link and buy anything. So it doesn't matter. You could be going there to buy some ointment, guys. Just think about it. Just think about how many ointments are on Amazon these days. And you could go on there and buy all sorts of ointment. But I can literally say that specific camera is actually pretty easy to use. It's a good streaming camera. It's a one-stop setup kind of situation. The only thing you're going to have to do is deal with the what do you call it? The white balance and stuff like that. Although there's a newer version of it that is tiny, that I've never used, so I can't tell you if it's like super easy to use this one or not. But there's a couple of options for your streaming. This one happens to be a 1080 camera, so that's why it's going to be $100 as opposed to the other one that is $150, I believe. Let me check. Nope, this one's 1080p also. But the thing that I would go for is to stream 1080, 60 frames is what you're looking for. And any of the plug-and-play like Logitech ones I have found to work fine for doing live stream stuff. You do want to figure out a separate microphone situation. You do not want to operate off of the camera. And then OBS, here, I'll type it out here. OBS stream, what do they call it? Software is what you're going to need. OBS is actually free. It's a share software. A lot of people use it. Most people use it. I don't. I use a paid streaming application. You don't have to, though, just so you know. But, you know, and then you're going to have to figure out the microphone basically on your own, because the microphone stuff, it starts to get a little bit crazy. There's a lot of options. Let me see if I can't. I think there's one that's a reasonable microphone. Hold on, I'm trying to find the. Where is it? Here it is. This is probably the easiest microphone for anybody that's starting out to utilize. It's the easiest one to set up. It's brought to you by Elgato. I don't have any affiliation with Elgato, but that's the easiest microphone. But there are cheaper ones. But yeah, that's going to be the biggest issue, is that you're going to need a camera, you're going to need software, and you're going to need a microphone. That's pretty much all it's going to be. Then everything after that is just kind of up to you, like just depending on how kind of crazy you want to go. But like if you want to go really expensive, you're going to have to get a capture card that, like my camera here is an old Canon RP. So it is actually a it's a mirrorless DSLR camera. That's what this camera is right here, with a lens on it and everything, and it sends out HDMI to the computer. The computer translates it and sends it out, which is definitely going to be more expensive. But if you're just starting out and you're just starting to stream, just get a decent streaming camera, something like that, decent microphone, start your stream, and just get going on putting your streams out, because you know, the biggest problem that most everybody runs into when they start streaming is that their quality is so bad that it's just almost impossible to watch. I've watched a ton of like I've jumped in on a ton of like fish streamers, you know, what is it, you know, aquarium, fish fam, whatever you guys call yourselves now, the fish community on YouTube, that I jump into their stream and they're streaming on a laptop that's sitting on their lap in front of a bunch of fish tanks it's backlighting them. The camera's moving around, the microphone is coming off of the laptop, and it's just, I can't even listen to it. Because more often than not, I don't even watch live streams, so it really boils down to just being prepared, like setting up an area. Even Alyssa can tell you, like, the area that I stream in here it's literally our basement. I sectioned off an area of our basement. This is my streaming office. It's segregated from the rest of the house. I don't have a bunch of aquariums making noise in the background or doing all sorts of other stuff, or people walking by, or, you know, everything is locked into position. So, but that's going to be a lot of the big stuff, is just you doing the setup, right? You just being involved in the setup, which costs nothing. It's literally like you just have to figure out where you can set up, when you can do it, and how to make everything like have some legitimacy to it, and then just start streaming. They're going to be bad for a long time. You're not going to be ready to deal with chat. You're probably going to have no chat. You're probably not going to have any necessary topics to talk about. And then if you do talk about topics, you probably will have talked about them with nobody around. So then, you know, you'll be like, oh, I already talked about that 3 or 4 weeks ago or something, right? But the people will be like, I don't know, I never watched that. So that's going to be like the most, you know, prescient thing to do is just get started, work out the kinks. You can always just take down old streams, like just you can either private them or unlist them or whatever you want to do. They can be bad. Just, you know, try to put yourself out there in like a mildly professional manner. You know, don't be dropping a ton of F-bombs and going crazy and doing all this kind of nonsense unless that's what you want to do, you know. G-Bear is here. What's up, G-Bear? Will the Husky rack 5,000 pound hold a couple of small tanks, 29 and 40, 2 and 5 gallon? Should I cut a piece of plywood to fit over the metal? It was gifted to me. I'm not sure the tanks won't crack without plywood. All of those metal frame racks, I don't know the specific one that you have. I feel like I've seen the Home Depot brand, which is Husky. I feel like I've seen those racks, and there's just a wide variety of them and their quality. But you're definitely going to have to do some modification. If you're asking me the question, should you put a piece of plywood on there? Yeah, you should, regardless of the racking. Yes, you should put a piece of plywood on there, mainly because I've never seen wire racking that is designed to really hold a fish tank. Let me rephrase that. I've seen wire racking that could definitely hold a fish tank. It's not included in any of those garage rack kits. Okay, it's going to be way too expensive to be included in one of those kits. It's not something that's going to be there. You have the ability to add some plywood. You're going to have to utilize your brain thinkings on that one and just go like, yep, this is probably the right method. Typically what I would do is put like a piece of plywood down and then put something on top of that. Like last time we used like this. Have you ever seen wetsuit before? It's like wetsuit sort of material. We just put a sheet of that down just to keep from any kind of pressure points balancing out. Just kind of handling with the balancing act of the plywood's not exactly as straight as people think that it is. Unless you buy really expensive plywood, and then you're probably fine. But it's always good to have a little point of contact in between the two. I would consider some kind of waterproofing on there in case you end up with a lot of water pooling. And, of course, the plywood's probably not going to rot for a really long time, but it will mold and get funky and gross, and your fish room will smell bad, which is it's not a big deal to some people, as I've seen, but it's a big deal to me. If it smells like mold and you know, dirty water and stuff like that in your fish room, it's like, this is disgusting. That's me personal though. Here we are on a Monday show, guys, and we always have to address the elephant in the room. And the elephant in the room today is our members number. Our members number, guys. Here we are in February, President's Day, and we have got to alter this number to the upward motion. Oh my God, guys. We have 76 members now, which puts us one closer to the 1,000 goal, plus the 138 patrons, which I think is inaccurate. We may have lost some patrons. Oh no, guys. Oh no. We have a situation on our hands that we haven't had in a long time. We have a situation here, folks. What are we going to do when both of these numbers need to go up? What are we going to do? Oh my God, we don't even know how to handle it. We don't even know how to handle it, folks. We're at 139 patrons. Oh my God. With combined forces, if we combine these forces over here up to 1,000, I'm going to go full-time on YouTube, okay? So that's maybe a motivating factor for somebody out there. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's me just being a dingus. But you don't necessarily have to be a patron. You don't have to be a member. But what you do have to do is hit the like button and then share this with your grandma. We got to send it out. You hit that share button, the copy link, then you drop it in an email and send it to your grandma and see if she likes the cut of my jib, you know? And if you don't have a grandma, I'm sorry. I only have one left. That's it. So I feel you. I feel you. I feel you deep down on my inside parts, okay? Anyhow, moving right along to the next portion, which has to pertain with the title. Oh, my God. What is the title today? Let me read it out so that we know for sure that I know what it is and you guys know what it is. Fish tanks. Oh, no, I can't even read the title. Fish tanks. What are we exploring? There we go. Now that I can read the end of it. And in the description, one of the things that I wanted to discuss a little bit is what got you into this hobby? What are you trying to get out of this hobby? And have you gotten any of that? Have any of your goals been accomplished from what you wanted to get out of this hobby? A couple of things had been brought to my mind, and one thing has been brought to the chat from Melissa right out the gate, which was, I can say the fish keeping started as me having a pet. Then it turned into decoration, which then became a huge learning journey, delving into the science behind it, which I think sort of encapsulates. I think that comment right there sort of encapsulates probably what a lot of people probably, which is probably what a lot of people got into the hobby for, which was like they wanted to have a pet, so they got a fish tank. And then from having that pet, they wanted to make it into a better, I guess, they wanted to improve the enclosure, I guess would be the easiest way to turn it weird, right? They wanted the enclosure, the space where this fish, this shrimp, this frog, whatever it is you started out with, you wanted to like improve the habitat for that creature, and to give them a space that was more like their, their natural habitat, I guess. And I think that really applies to a lot of people, especially in the United States, because we actually have a culture here in the States of getting pets for our kids. It's one of the ways that the United States is able to sort of, which, by the way, is the catchphrase of the Aquarium Co-op, experience nature daily, right? To be able to experience nature in a way that you as a human can interface with it without completely, just throwing away all of the modern conveniences and being able to, experience something about nature without like just completely upturning your whole life up on its head, right? Which I think, I actually think in my head is realistically a good thing. I think it's a good thing because it gives us an opportunity, being very young, to learn a lot of things. You learn a responsibility to take care of a creature, to take care of something that's much smaller than you, and sort of not only learn that responsibility, but also learn the ability to interact with something that is different than other people, right? And that's kind of what it was for me, because I've told this story a bunch of times. You guys remember the Fred the goldfish, Fred 1, Fred 2, Fred 3. It just went on and on because I kept getting a goldfish when I was a little kid, and me being in my 40s now. I'm strongly in my 40s, powerfully in my 40s. When I was a kid, we got like pretty terrible advice for keeping fish. I think the elder class that was advising people my age when I was little pretty much had terrible advice. It was just pretty awful, realistically. And the fish and creatures did not live that long. in my experience, because of that. It's difficult to get mad at like an 8-year-old for not taking care of their fish when it's like you're doing what your you're doing what your parents and the guys at the fish store told you to do. The world now is much different. There's much more information available. Most at least local stores that you go to are going to give you pretty good advice on what you can and can't do without just creating a whole disaster in your house. Oh my God, this shirt still has a tag on it and it is like jabbing into my side. All right. I wonder if I can yank it. Oh my God. Can I get it? Can I get it without ripping the shirt? I've done that before. Hold on, I've got scissors over here. Guys, aquascaping scissors can also remove tags. Ah. We've got it. We've got ourselves a tag. Where was this made? Canada? This was made in Canada? Weird. That was unexpected. I did not expect made in Canada. Who knew? Who knew Canadians knew how to make shirts? Well, quality control passed. It passed quality control, so we're doing good. Anyhow. As when I was a kid, I got pretty bad advice, and I don't think that I don't think that I got the level of enjoyment that I could have as a kid in the hobby. And I think a lot of it has to do with just the time that I grew up. It was the early 80s. There just wasn't a lot of, there just wasn't a lot of forward-thinking people in the United States at the time. They elected Ronald Reagan, the guy from the Western movies, the actor, the television and film actor. That's who they elected to be president. So I don't think there was a lot of forward thinking and a lot of specific care for the environment or animals or stuff like that. Wasn't really happening at the time. Maybe other people have experienced a completely different thing in the early 80s, but I don't think it was that far off to be the case. I think a lot of those people were breathing lead the entirety of their lives up until they took lead out of gasoline, so they probably were just making some bad decisions associated with that. What's going on with Rommel? A lot of people are... To me, it is a rich man's hobby. I feel alienated as someone who has limited finances, support networks, and opportunity. I became frustrated recently and tore down most of my tanks. That being said, I will create more tanks in the future. I burned myself out comparing myself to people with unlimited finances and trying to recreate it with limited money. Okay. I'm definitely going to address that, Rommel. But I'm going to continue on this little rant, and then we're going to come back to that issue right there. But, during the early 80s, I don't think I was getting the type of education as far as like fish care and that kind of stuff that I should have, in my opinion. But and I think it kind of spoiled my interaction with the hobby as a young guy. I did keep turtles. I kept turtles basically the entirety of my life. I found it much easier to take care of the turtles, and they lived forever. I ended up giving away TJ. He was the big one. Tony was the small one. Tony escaped one day. I got to tell you guys, I don't know if anybody else has this kind of story in their back pocket from their childhood. But Tony escaped and ran away and was never found. And, the thing is, I don't know how long Tony made it. I don't know. I never found Tony. But what I used to do is I would take, on really sunny, nice days, I would take out a kiddie pool, like a little kid's pool, and I would half fill it with water, and I would let my turtles swim around outside in the kiddie pool on nice days like that, and they liked it. I mean, as far as I could tell, they enjoyed it. And plus, it was a good time to clean out their big turtle enclosure, and clean it up and change out their food and, you know, change out bedding and clean stuff off because they go in there. They'd be pooping in there, you know what I mean? They'd be pooping in there because they're turtles, man. They don't know. And it was a good time to do that. It was also a good time to check them out and see how well they were doing, if they had any kind of weirdness going on, if there's anything wrong with them. Get them out into the bright sunshine and give them a look over, make sure their shell was good and stuff like that. And they were always healthy and whatnot. And one day, Tony, the turtle, climbed out of the kiddie pool and ran off into the woods. Like, Tony the turtle was just gone. And I'm going to tell you guys, I spent days and days and days looking around for Tony, digging around in the woods and the backyard, the front yard, the street, down the road. I was everywhere. I was all over the place. Never found Tony. Hopefully Tony found another turtle somewhere and they hunkered down and made some baby turtles. I hope they made some baby turtles. But we may never know. But TJ lived forever. And eventually, I think when I was about 15, I gave TJ to another little kid. Because I got TJ from a, what do you call it? Preschool class. A preschool class had TJ, and they had dropped TJ and cracked their shell. And I think I was probably like 7 or something like that when I got TJ, and kept him alive for a long, long time. Healed him up, and then they went off and went on to another owner. Because I didn't know what I was going to do with a turtle as puberty came on. Because puberty was much more important than taking care of turtles. Anyhow, I had some fish tanks. I had chameleons, bearded dragon, some other stuff. Somebody found it fascinating that I had kept reptiles at some point in time. But yeah, I pretty much have been around reptiles my whole life. Nothing crazy. No gigantic man-eating snakes or anything like that, but I definitely had been around reptilians, and I just don't keep them now because I specifically don't have the space for them or the time for them to really care for them. So I don't even bother. But you know, through a period of time, I didn't have aquariums at all, and one of the big reasons for that was, you know, you're in your 20s and you're working crappy jobs and you live in a crappy place and you don't have time for hobbies. You know, you're working 2 jobs, you're paying some bills, you're doing extracurricular activities that are not great for your health, but you're doing them regardless. And didn't have time for hobbies like that. You know, I was busy doing other stuff. But around when I was about 25, I think. A buddy of mine who was a tattoo artist got this book in trade or a tip from tattooing some weirdos, probably bikers, who knows. He got a book as a tip that was, I always say his name wrong, but Takashi Amano. Am I saying it wrong? I always say his name wrong. Either way. It was one of those books. It was one of the Aquascaping books, and we just got entranced by the beautiful photography and realizing that in a tiny little aquarium, you could have basically its own environment in a tiny little space. And so we got into it. We got into the hobby. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is that Rommel, I had the exact same problem back then. Most anything that you could find information on an aquascaped aquarium was this extraordinarily high-end gear that just, frankly, did not exist in the United States. So even if you had the kind of money that would require to purchase ADA tanks or CO2 systems or fertilization or these crazy lights that people are using or the substrate, none of that stuff was even available. you know, I don't know the exact timeline as to when, for instance, ADA Amazonia was even available. I don't even know when they started making it. It would probably behoove me to look that up. Maybe somebody else can look it up who's in the chat. But I don't even know when that became available, right? And you know, me and my buddies that had gotten into these little tiny aquariums, right? The nano aquariums. You guys are familiar with it now. At the time, people didn't know what the hell we were talking about. And we were trying to figure out like what were people doing? Like how were they doing this? Where were they getting these plants? How were they coming up with this stuff? I remember seeing I want to say in like 2008. I think something like 2008. I remember seeing what was an image that was described as an iwagumi aquascaped aquarium, right? In my mind, I had no idea what was happening right now. I just stared at it for what felt like a million years, right? It was like, it looked like there were these little tiny rolling hills, a couple of rocks, and this just vibrant green, this just insanely vibrant green plant that was growing over the surface of these little rolling hills. I mean, it looked like as if you took a picture of like the best day has ever happened in Ireland, and then somehow recreated it into an aquarium that you find out was like this big. You know, I mean, it's like the length of a football or something, you know, or maybe slightly bigger than a toaster, right? And I don't know how many times I referenced back to that picture of just going, like, how do I do that? Like, how is it physically possible to do that? And there was a point in time where I kept having to go through, like, the shadiest of websites where you'd have to, like, use a credit card that you know was probably going to get stolen situation, right? So what we would end up doing is buying those prepaid. We'd buy those prepaid Visa cards from, like, Target. And then you'd pay for the thing with that, and then you'd wait like an incredible amount of time. I mean, we're talking like 3 weeks, and something would show up in the mail just completely destroyed. You know, a little bit of plant matter in there with something that had been destroyed in the mail. It was all wet and soppy and disgusting. And every once in a while, you'd luck out, and you would get a plant in the mail that was like, oh, okay, awesome. We're going to try and grow this. Okay. We'd put it in our fanciest thing where we'd gotten those weed grow lights, because back then growing weed was illegal. I think I read on a forum the other day, I guess it's legal to grow weed in New York City now or something like that. But we're living in a crazy world right now, because back then you had to go in with all like hushes and whispers about how this is a gardening store, right? And of course, you would ask the guys that work there, hey, can I grow aquarium plants with this? And they would look at you like, how the hell would I know that? I don't have an answer for you. These are lights. They grow plants. Do you want your weed to flower? Or, I mean, your tomato plants to flower? Or do you want them to fruit, right? Is basically what you would get. So at the time, we had to go through this like wild process of trying to figure out, like, does a light work? Does a light not work? Does a, like, what do we do? Like, you know, like, what's the plan here? And I remember, like, the first successful plant growing tank was probably, like, shortly after that 2008 period, probably, like, 2009, where we really started to see some success with just the wrong light fixtures, with you know, some old the AquaClear hang-on back filters and a couple other things, and I think I had an old paintball CO2 setup that I was using, because back then it was like experimental crazy, it was like experimentally crazy kind of stuff. Aquarium Co-op has a good point here. It says, my wife hates Turface because the mess it makes in the bathtub trying to clean it. Yep, I hate Turface for many reasons. I fell victim to the I fell victim to the Turface thing a long time ago. Like, does it work? Sure. Are there better things out there? 100%, there are better things out there. But everything back then was a struggle, but I was pretty transfixed by it. I was kind of obsessed by it. It's something that I wanted to do. I wanted to accomplish. I wanted to figure this out. I wanted to get to a point where, where I could show some proficiency in it. Everything was scraping together, an extra $50 a month or something like that to try a new thing, to continually try and save money, by doing all these workarounds. And the best advice that I could give to anybody is that you literally should focus within your budget, especially when it comes to something like a hobby like aquascaping. And comparing yourself to others is functional in the fact that if you want to compare yourself to, am I accomplishing a task? Yes. If you want to compare yourself to Ferrari driving, Rolex wearing, people with these giant budgets, it's like you're not comparing in an appropriate way as far as I would be concerned. And certain things do cost a lot of money, right? And if you wanted to be in this hobby, like Rommel recently got as frustrated as probably I did too, because I can totally recognize that. And especially nowadays with YouTube, you could watch potentially 3 aquarium channels and suddenly feel wildly deficient in the project that you're working on. Like if you watch, and this is no cut on these channels. I hope you guys understand that. Like, I'm not talking badly about these channels, but if you were to watch like Serpa Design, MD Fish Tanks, or MD whatever, and like, I don't know, what's another one? Like who else is like setting up tanks all the time? I don't know, I don't know. Pick another channel. I can't even think of a third one. Sorry. But if you were to take like those 3 channels and you watch their content all the time, they are obsessed with setting up a new project, right? From your perspective, you're taking in people that are like individually driven to setting up new aquariums, right? That's all they're doing. Oh, Green Aqua would be a perfect example. Like, they're always working on some new tank project. But you're talking about like 3 YouTube channels that are going to be influencing your perspective as to if you're utilizing that as a comparison, right? If you're comparing what you're doing with somebody else that is professionally doing it, I'd put it this way. Let me put it into the terms of what's happening right now currently on YouTube from my channel's perspective. Compare me to CNN, right? Or Fox News, or whatever news channel where there are people presenting themselves in front of a camera and talking about stuff, right? The budgets are wildly different. There's no research team. There's no acquisition team. There's no sponsors here. I mean, the only people that sponsor this channel are the members, right? Are the members and the patronizers. right? The members and the patrons. That's it. So if we compare that to one oil baron paycheck, right? I'm immediately blown out of the water, and there's really not much I can do to compare myself to that. I currently focus on comparing myself to my work, and have I improved on the work that I have done in the past? Am I consistently making incremental improvements over time? That's what I compare myself to. That's the comparison that I make, my life versus my life. Because if you're comparing yourself and your life to others, you don't know the background of what it takes to get to where you're at, or where they're at, right? People that are really wealthy and well off, they start out with an amount of funding that you and I will never understand, right? We won't even be able to comprehend what it's likely to have millions of dollars in the bank account at 18 or whatever, right? I've personally never experienced that. Maybe you have or something. But my point is, if you have a small budget, if you don't have a ton of time and availability, the most likely advice is to restrict the projects that you're working on so that you can increase the quality of those projects that you're working on and use those to compare where you were at before. I've talked about it many, many times, the slippery slope of ending up with 120 fish tanks, a bunch of maintenance to do, and the fact of how far it gets deteriorated, right? Somebody brought up in this live stream here quite a while, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago or something like that, that Lucas Bretz is selling his house. He's leaving all of his fish tanks and stuff like that to move his business somewhere else and set up all new fish tanks, right? One of the times when I had a specific discussion with him, I was like, you have too many tanks. And I don't think that they're very high quality. I don't think that what's going on there. I think that you just happen to have a lot of aquariums and not much else going on there. And it's sort of that syndrome right there, is that I happen to be moving at the same time, right? Vicky and I are trying to buy a house. We're going to hopefully buy a house at some point, and we're going to move. When I relocate, I'm taking all of my tanks with me. And I have no intention in selling them. And the reason for that is that a long time ago, I decided having way too many fish tanks is a bad idea for me, because I don't have this incredible amount of resource to constantly be pulling from, to be setting up a new aquarium, getting new substrate, getting new rocks, getting new wood, getting new plants, getting new lights, getting new CO2 system, getting new filtration, making sure I have enough fertilizer for it. Do I have an auto doser to fertilize for it? Blah, 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 blah. The list goes on. And that if I was going to continue doing that over and over and over again, that I most likely am going to encounter I'm going to just get rid of I'm going to end up just getting rid of all my tanks and moving away kind of thing, right? Or just getting rid of them, because I don't even like looking at the terrible projects that are overgrown with algae. Every tank's just kind of a mishmash of nothing really planned out. There's just things living in water under my care. And I don't think that anybody should be pursuant in the hobby in that manner. I feel like if you're going to have a giant facility, you should have the staffing to be able to do it. You should have the business behind it in order to keep that volume of stuff going on. It's sort of like I have 10 chickens, right? Vicky and I have 10 chickens. if we suddenly had 500 chickens, for instance, we wouldn't be able to take care of them. We both have full-time jobs. I have a full-time and a part-time job. Vicky has a full-time job. We have a kid. We have a dog. We have a house. We have a mortgage. We have all this stuff we got to do. If we suddenly had 500 chickens, we wouldn't be able to take care of them. And they would slowly get worse and worse and worse over time until it's pretty clear that there would be some kind of irresponsible animal care thing going on there, right? And it's not a specific set case that Lucas is doing anything wrong or anybody else is doing anything wrong. But I am of the opinion that when you get collectoritis like that, you're just in this position of essentially hoarding. And once you get there, the hobby that you're generally trying to promote or you're trying to take care of or you're trying to be the best ambassador for, that starts to go away. And when that starts to go away, I feel like you got to regroup and figure out where your energy is going and how you're going to rectify what is going on. And I think it's really important for people to be able to make those evaluations. And I think the conversation of like the title here today, it's like what is it that we're trying to explore here? And for me, the list is habitat environment, right? Like what's the habitat and environment that we're trying to replicate, and why are we trying to replicate it? How are we trying to replicate it? And like what information are we utilizing in order to implement doing that? From that, we have all of the mechanical things that I am really interested in. That's like the actual tank and the tank construction itself, the stand construction in itself, the plumbing and how it's plumbed, what system is moving water within the system, what's filtering the water within the system, how is it being filtered, how is it being replenished, how are those things going on, and the lights and the electrical system within all of that. I'm wildly interested in all of that stuff. I'm also interested in, obviously, the fish. Like Aubrey brought up a good point, like super early into the chat. That was let me double check here. I don't want to misquote. It says I'm fascinated with how alien yet familiar fish are, and that like really encapsulates sort of my opinion around like, man, shrimp just seem like they're from outer space, but yet it makes sense, right? You're like, this thing seems like a space creature. This thing seems like something that shouldn't be here, but also it has this level of familiarity that you're like, yeah, of course, shrimp, duh. Everybody knows that. And I've done the saltwater side, and I've definitely done the saltwater side with shrimp. Realistically, never to have accomplished breeding saltwater shrimp. I never really delved too deeply into that, mainly because every person that I ever spoke to that had ever done it, like, shook their head and exhaled heavily and explained to me, like, just how difficult it was to actually pull off breeding saltwater shrimp. And I was like, okay, so I just sort of shied away from it. And also, at the time when I was really interested in trying to pull that off, there was the cost issue. It's like setup, operational costs, water filtration, all that stuff was just going to be crazy expensive. So I tried to figure out ways around it. I have some tactics and methodology that does sort of skirt around the overall cost of things like saltwater, but it still is expensive, realistically, to do. And if you're just going to be dumping money into it, it's always best to just kind of regroup and go like, wait a minute, what's my budget here? What am I doing? And kind of move on, which is what I ended up doing realistically. Because I got into breeding freshwater shrimp. I realistically was working on trying to make my hobby sustainable. And it did become sustainable for quite a long time through breeding freshwater shrimp. I basically picked the hardest shrimp to breed, figured out how to do it, figured out how to maintain them, and then I would sell them to stores and get equipment and just keep setting up tanks and making tanks and doing stuff like that. It eventually got, to the point where I decided, like, oh, I want to breed freshwater fish. A lot of fish that I bred were pretty easy to breed. And then I realized that, like, there's a market for betta fish everywhere. So I started breeding betta fish because I wanted to learn how to do that. As I read about it in a book, sounded very interesting. And then I had 5-gallon buckets all over the place with betta fish and betta babies. And then I had tanks with betta babies, and they were growing up. And then I'd have a sorority, and it was a bit much for a person to maintain without it ever reaching a point where I could maintain it as a career. I did, like, for instance, at one point in time, I did get a. I have some videos about it on my YouTube channel, but I did get a warehouse space that I built out. I set up all the tanks, all that kind of stuff. I was running the tanks in there and doing that situation. And then there was a giant deep freeze. And that warehouse lost power for, I don't even know how many days at this point in time. It's been a long time since it happened, but the whole building lost power and everything in that fish room there froze. I had, this much ice on every tank. The salt water, the giant reef tank that I had completely was frozen. That was the point where I decided to move to another house. I moved to another house, set up everything in the garage, and tried to go from there. But recovering from that loss meant that I didn't have a commercial space anymore because I was like, look, I can't maintain a lease here if everything's gonna freeze. And they were actually pretty cool about it. They rented that space out to somebody else that I believe they stored clothing in it for, like, events. I don't know. But the evolution over the years has been kind of weird. More often than not, just sort of running into a brick wall at some point in time or another, and eventually, I started working at that house. I was doing a lot of tanks there, and I was doing a bunch of stuff. I was making, like, some of the worst YouTube videos I've ever seen in my entire life. I literally was looking through my catalog the other day of unlisted videos and stuff like that, and just realized, like, just how bad content I was making. And it literally does make sense looking back now, of going, like, it makes sense why a lot of my content never took off, right? It totally makes sense to me in hindsight now. I mean, I can see it. I don't know if other people can, but I can literally just go, like, this is why. I know why. This content is not very good. And I think realistically, had I taken it a lot more seriously back then, that I probably would have seen a lot more YouTube reward from it. But I can't change the past, and I don't think anybody else can. And if there is somebody out there that can change the past, I would just say, hey, can you go throw $1,000 on Microsoft for me in the in the 80s probably? Yeah, just go handle that for me. Yeah, and then I'll buy the Amazon spheres from Bezos, right? But it has been kind of a strange evolution over the time, but realistically, I was thinking about it the other day that I definitely have gotten a lot of what I wanted to get out of this hobby. And a lot of what I'm working on now is how to convey that within short, non-rambly content that hopefully I can convey that message to other people. I think realistically, when I sit down and work on scripting and because you know, I to be honest with you guys, like I'm probably making the project a bigger project than maybe it needs to be, but there's no one else to work on it with me, so I do have to kind of go about doing it in the way that I have been. But when I was thinking about like how I wanted to engage with this hobby further, I did start to think about Amano. I started to think about Amano and sort of the legacy that he left behind of content that is sort of timeless and would most likely engage with anybody now the same way that it engaged with me what's like 15 years ago or something, 15, 16 years ago, whenever that was. 16 years ago, something like, I don't know. But and you know, and just thinking about it in the fact that I likely don't think that he himself, now I'm putting words in somebody else's head that probably don't exist, but I don't think he himself was probably engaging with this thought process when he and I were the same age, right? I would bet money on it when he was like 25, he was probably just doing whatever. Because like how old, I want to, hold on, let me see how old he was. Takeshi Amano. Takashi Amano. So he was born in 1954. Let's see. Oh my God, we got to do math. 61. So if we go back from 2015, you know, 40 years, he was probably like 21 in the 70s, right? I bet you he was probably just cruising around kind of doing stuff that dudes did when they were 21. But then you look at it like, when was his first real publication? Yeah, 1994, a 3-book series on aquascaping and freshwater aquarium plants and fish in 94, right? Yeah, so he was a professional track cyclist, a photographer, designer, and aquarist, right? So obviously when he was young, he was riding a bicycle around a lot. Awards: the Fujifilm Nature Photo Contest, Grand Prix, 1992. So yeah, so you got to think like in his younger years, he probably was just running around riding bicycles and taking pictures and doing kind of whatever. But by the time he was like 1994, he was kind of getting serious about stuff. And then, you know, 20 years later, he passed away at 61. So it's sort of right in that time. It's right around in that time frame, realistically, kind of thinking about it, going like, yeah, I think dudes kind of get sort of, you either get introspective and start to kind of realize like how you're engaging with the world around that middle-age time. And I think that that's a reality that we don't normally like actively recognize, except for in the midlife crisis thing, where a dude buys a Lamborghini and he starts driving it around and acting like a dingbat, and you go like, well, he's having a midlife crisis. Look at him blowing all his cash or whatever. But I think that's not the normal behavior. I think more or less the normal behavior is you sort of reach that middle age, you're sort of having thought processes about like what's going on in the world, like how you're engaging with the world, and like how you're going to take sort of having learned as an adult for like this 20-year period and go like, how am I going to apply this in a better way for the next 20, 30, 40 years before you kick the bucket, right? Yeah. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. I think that's kind of in that space that I'm at of going like, realistically, what's my legacy going to be? And my legacy isn't necessarily like trash talking people or whatever. Like, you know, which hopefully people don't see me as like having trash talk people today, because I certainly didn't do that. But in my opinion, maybe people are mad, but who knows? But I think realistically, like that's where I'm at. I do feel like I'm in a very privileged position, and one of the things that I realized this the other day, and it's kind of gross to say it because I think Corey's in the chat, and it's going to be a little bit awkward to mention, but there was like a 1-minute aquarium co-op video that was like a promotional commercial type video that Corey and Jimmy had made, that I thought was worded very well. That it was like, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here because I'll get a copyright strike if I play it during the show here. And of course, are we sponsored by Aquarium Co-op? Loosely, yes. But the wording was like, it was something like, we're just a couple of guys that got lucky. It made a fish store that it worked out, and just trying to share a positive experience with people, in sharing knowledge, having fun doing a good hobby that you definitely will be rewarded more than you probably recognize. And I think realistically, that's where I'm sitting right now, is like, I honestly feel rewarded from a hobby that I didn't realize, I didn't expect, and I wasn't necessarily thinking actively about. The value that I've garnered from this hobby has been extensive, and I hope to continue that for the next 20 years in a much better way than some of my early nonsense that I've made. Looking over some of that crap and realizing, like, wow, real garbagey. Oh my God, Preston John's here. He's got a cowboy hat emoji. I don't know what that means. But if you guys are wondering who Preston John is, he's one of the premier American freshwater breeding enthusiasts in the United States, in my opinion. Well thought out, very nice guy. He was sponsoring this channel for a long time, and we were always indebted to Preston. And if you're wondering where my puffer fish came from, it came from his fish room. It came from Preston's fish room. Let's see here. Got to find the right investor sometimes, and sometimes it's just about being lucky to come across someone who wants to sponsor. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that I've been lucky enough to have a lot of people on YouTube, a lot that have like believed in me or appreciated whatever it is that I'm doing to sponsor the channel, and my gratitude is high. I hope people know that. And I do, I do feel like I'm letting people down sometimes. And then I had a conversation with Alyssa on stream last Friday that sort of made me recognize that, like, a lot of people sponsor the channel because they actually just like this podcast that I'm doing here. I know it's a live stream podcast, whatever you want to call it. This show that I do sort of bookends the week for some people, and I realized that, like, there are actually some people who just appreciate, like, me doing this, and in that thought that's probably the momentary thought that sort of spurred on this sort of like creative idea of going like where am I going here? What am I doing? Vicky and I have been under a lot of stress, like trying to find properties. It has been chaos, my guy. It has been pure chaos trying to find a property that we could just put in a bid on, get anything even accepted. It has just been, it's been brutal. We're probably just going to take a step back here for a week and try not to worry about it at all. But yeah, it's like, because it occurred to me the other day that it was like, why am I trying to buy a house that has a building that I can put a fish room in it so I can keep making YouTube content, right? Like, why am I doing that? Like, why would I bother? Like, why don't we just buy a stupid house that doesn't even have a yard, and we just live in it and take care of Olivia, and that's that. You know, it crossed my mind. I don't know that it was a beneficial thought or a good thought, or there was anything. I don't think that there was any like kind of realistic emotion behind it, other than just being like frustrated and in the moment being frustrated. But yeah, I mean, it's just that stuff just comes welling up in your head, and you kind of just go like, should I just walk away from this? But then I realized like, no, like most of the evidence points towards like, don't walk away from this, because this is something that's extraordinarily beneficial for you. And it's beneficial for other people. So I'm just going to keep kind of like working on it. Rommel says, rhetorical question: why can't I breed guppies? Well, everyone looks at me crazy when I even say it in forums. For me, not being able to breed guppies has always been contingent on my soft water. If I add a bunch of bags of crushed coral, it hardens up the water enough to allow the guppies to breed well. That's generally like almost always one of those things that I would kind of point to towards the average person of going like, test your water, because for guppies, just water hardness can really be an issue to them breeding. Yeah, they can survive and just be ripping around in there, but they're just not going to breed. Wesley's Fish Club says, I want to open some sort of aquarium gallery, not so much a store, but in the end, it all comes down to money. Yeah, I think realistically, having gone to Green Aqua like 3 years ago, God, maybe it was 4 years ago. I don't know. Corey and I were lucky to go there like right after they opened. And their gallery, whatever they have a name for it. I don't know. I think they call it a gallery or something like that. But that aquarium room where they have all the aquariums set up, like that pretty much encapsulated my vision of what I thought I would have had set up by now, from when we were there. Obviously, I didn't foresee the pandemic. I didn't foresee the pandemic. I don't think anybody foresaw the pandemic, realistically. I know that some doctors said that, like, we thought there would be a virus that would cause problems. And they're probably right. Like, those doctors are probably correct. Those doctors are probably correct. Like, I don't think that they're wrong in saying that they probably thought that there would be a thing, right? But I don't think anybody would have thought, wow, this would be 2 years later, and just how much pushback there is from like a very small group of people, a very vocal small group of people, realistically, that just maintained it and kept it going nonstop. I don't think anybody would have saw that. I don't think anybody would have really seen what it would have done to the market and just how wild everything has been for the last 2 years. Luckily, we've navigated it pretty. I don't know. I was gonna say we've navigated it pretty unscathed, but I do have to admit it's been a crazy stressful couple of years. We're healthy. We got food. This house, we're healthy. We got food. Blah blah blah. So we personally have navigated it fairly well. We've lost some humans that were close to us, but that I don't have any method to intervene with that. But I would say that, like, Corey and I went and saw that. I thought at the time that by now I would have had something set up similar to that. I don't. Not even close. So I've got a long ways to go, but It's like long way to go, short time to get there, but we got more than a short time to get there, right? So yeah, I mean, the thing is that like I'm in a continued process, and it's weird when you're like in the middle of it, and then try to assess, and then like make an assessment on what it is that you're working on. Bonsoir. I thought Bonsoir was a member. I don't know. It's crazy trying to buy in this market. It's like pulling shark teeth with your bare hands. Yeah, it's like trying to pull alligator teeth with your bare hands. It's like trying to pull a wolf's tooth with your bare hand. It's crazy. It is bonkers. I don't know. I don't know who's here. When I told the story of like we looked at a house, we talked to the listing agent. We were like, look, we're going to put in an offer. Please do not accept an offer until you get ours. It's going to take us a couple hours to drive home. We're driving up from Tacoma, and he was like, okay, cool. And by the time we got home, fed Olivia dinner, and then we were sitting down to like put together our offer on the house, and they accepted an offer from somebody else. And and you're just like, dude, it's been 3 hours. Like, come on, man. Like, you had an open house on Sunday. You're accepting offers at like 6:00 on Sunday evening. Like, wait till Monday. So, it's been a little bit bonkers. But John Bruner becoming a member today. Oh my God, guys, what are we supposed to do? The member number is going up. What do we do when the member number goes up? I don't really know. We should have some kind of wild celebration for John. Thank you, John. Very much appreciate it. 100%. I really do. As I mentioned, it's one of those things. Like it's difficult to try to get members little bit by little bit. But that's where I'm at here, and we're just going to continue doing the best we can. I just wanted to drop my software engineer job. Oh, Wesley says, I just want to drop my software engineer job and not sit in the office all day, just daydreaming about the what ifs. I understand that. I mean, I can understand where that comes from. It's not typical for humans to sit inside all day long. Like we just have not evolved to be like that. It's a little bit weird, and I think it's probably a little more stressful on people than we realistically recognize. Wesley's Fish Club says, I joined when you hit 100 members. That's right. We used to have 100 members, and now we don't. We've gone through the pandemic. We've gone through a pandemic, guys. I don't know. Like I said, I had lofty goals for what I was going to be doing when we when we visited Green Aqua the first time. We probably had a lot more supporters back then. Since the pandemic started, channel support has dropped 58%. When I looked it up 2 weeks ago when I was sending in all my tax information, so I could pay my taxes. I could pay my taxes. The number year over year is down 58%. We lost 58%. So, we're on that. What is it? The grind. Are we on the grind set? I don't know. There's always somebody posting some kind of motivational grind set video on these media platforms where it's like Marky Wahlberg is getting up at 2 a.m. to do bench presses or whatever the hell's going on, and you gotta you got to motivate beyond motivation to motivate faster and harder, and then you're motivated, and oh my God, now we got to get up at 1:30 in the morning, right? Just all that kind of nonsense. When the reality is that we're all just kind of doing the best, especially in comparison. You got to compare against yourself and making those incremental improvements. I was talking about that earlier. It's kind of it's in my opinion, it's the best way to interact with having criticisms about what you're doing. Somebody renamed the green room to the pink room. I don't know why. Because whoever's a mod that did that should probably figure out what they're doing. But the green room's open in case anybody wants to call in today. I've been in there all day. But no one's joined. I didn't even hear the join. Nobody joined in. But they did rename it to the pink room. So now I've had to change it back. Ramel has COVID. Sick of COVID. I have it right now. Yeah, I think we have another member that has it right now. It's still going around, guys. So I would stay on your toes, man. Stay on your toes out there. Oh, Joel G's here. All right, good. Things are getting better. Things are improving. Aquarium Co-op says, I think I only have 2 or 3 memberships, and Joel's one of them, and been so for a long time. That's true. Aquarium Co-op is one of the OG members of the channel here. Let me see. Where's the... They're always like moving the member lists. Oh, see your members. There it is. Let's go total time as a member. The Fish Tank Barn, John Gilman, Fishy Mailman, Daryl Deemer, Aquarium Co-op, Groveside Animals, Grassy Peak, Alyssa Bentley, Josh Peters, John Ward, and those are the OG members that still remain. There used to be a lot more. OG members. A lot of people have dropped out. I'm never mad at people. It's like, you could be a member, you could be not a member. It is what it is. But I'm always appreciative of the people, that can afford it. Because more often than not, like when people drop out, it's because they like lost their job or something like that. And I'm like, dude, don't sponsor my YouTube channel if you're trying to find a gig. You know what I mean? Like, don't waste your resources on that. Go scrape up a new gig and get rocking and rolling. You know what I mean? Oh my God, once a month chat. Oh, can we even trust it? It's probably not even Corey. It's probably somebody else probably has control of the of Corey's YouTube account right now. I'm guessing. I'm just kidding. Joel G says, I think the OG chat when you came back in like 2017 was Corey, me, and yourself. That's probably true. A big break. I took a big break to get sober. I don't know who was around really back then, but I did take a big break in getting sober, which I think ultimately is the best thing I've ever done in my adult life. Realistically, 2,841 days today that I've been sober. I endorse it. If you feel like you're having problems with drugs, alcohol, anything, you can definitely make a change. If I can, you can. I've always tried to use myself as a general benchmark, as like, if you can do it, or if I can do it, you can do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not beyond a possibility to make a change in your life and really make a change, and it's just one day at a time. And I know that I talked with somebody recently about being sober and how the idea of it was sort of affecting them. It was just the idea seemed extraordinarily daunting to them. And I said something that I hope was helpful. I hope was helpful to them. It may not. It may not have been helpful, but I can say personally it was helpful. It was a helpful reminder to me that and the thing that I said is I don't need to focus on being sober for 100 years or the rest of my life or any sort of like wild period of time. Like all I need to focus on is being sober today. This hour, this minute, right now. I'm sober right now. That's all I need to worry about. I don't need to worry about tomorrow. I don't need to worry about yesterday. I don't need to worry about any of this other stuff. Next week, whatever. All I need to worry about is right now. And I'm not gonna drink or do drugs or anything right now. It's just not gonna happen right now. No. And eventually, it adds up. It eventually adds up over time, and suddenly you end up with something that seems like a giant thing, like 2,841 days. And I hope it helped them out. I hope it helped them to shrink down the monumental task and not think about how long it's going to take or how much work or this or that or the other thing, when the reality of the work is really easy right now if you're just doing the thing that you're doing right now. And I always try to do my best to relate that under giant projects. It's like, how long is it going to take to paint this building? It's going to take as long as it takes, but right now it's going to take, right now I'm going to start painting, and then right now I'm going to be painting, and then eventually we're going to get to the end of it. That doesn't mean like throw away all cognizant thought that like, oh, it would take 80 hours to paint a building or something, right? Like, but you don't need to worry about the work tomorrow. You just need to worry about the work today and just do the stuff that you're supposed to be doing right now. And then before you know it, you're getting to the end. Oh my God, we've got 2 super chats and someone's at the door. Oh my God, who's at the door? Let's take a look. The dog's barking, so it sounds like somebody's up there. Let's take a look. Oh, it looks like it's the Amazon guy. Oh, it's really windy outside right now. It's really windy outside. The Amazon guy dropped off a package and rang the doorbell. Well, that's normal. Yeah, all right, there we go. Okay. We'll back out of that. The dog's still barking because it's windy up there. Because on my security cameras, I can hear like the wind chimes just blowing like crazy. So I bet Biddy thinks that somebody is still out there. Yeah. Now she stopped barking. But yeah, it's one of those things where you just gotta chill. But we got some super chats here. Oh my God, we got member chats. The whole chat's all taken up by member chats, guys. What are we doing? We got so many member chats here. Monthly member. S says, look at my week membership. 13 months. S, I didn't even realize that you have been a member for 13 months. It has literally felt like 2 months. So that's got to be a good thing, right? Like this long period of time that S and I have been ranting and raving at each other through text, and then me yelling at Blackie on the Dr. Black show about Star Wars and Boba Fett and Jango Fett and all the Star Wars nonsense and the fish tanks and all the other stuff. has been fantastic. So 13 months, it only feels like 2, right? It only feels like 2, and that means hopefully we reach many, many more months, like 93 months. Hopefully we reach 93 months and our relationship feels like it's only been 5, and then we're like, oh my God, it's been a long time. Rommel with a $5 super chat says, for dealing with my occasional rantings. As you guys know, like, this show is powered by your guys' chat. If you guys literally said, hey, stop talking about this, if everyone in chat said, stop talking about this, I want you to talk about guppies or something, I would just be like, oh, all right. Yeah, like, nobody wants me to talk about this. Like, okay, yeah, cool. All right, well, so I appreciate people that are engaged and ranting. I would remind people, come back and leave a comment after the fact, after the live stream, and just start yelling at anybody in the comments, because if you guys start big arguments in the comments, the algorithm picks it up, and they start going. The algorithm goes like, "Oh my God, people are engaging with this this comment section of this video." So I'm not saying like argue in a negative way. I'm saying like if somebody comes into the chat and says water is wet, you can be like, "No, water is not wet," and they'll be like, "Yeah, water is wet, bro," and you'll be like, "No, it's not wet. It's diabetes." I thought I had a moist sticker on my microphone. I don't have a moist sticker down here anymore. I think I put them on stuff. Wait, do I have one? Oh my God, I still have one. I still have a reserve moist sticker. Moist. I should put this like somewhere in Corey's fish room. Just like sneak it underneath a table or something, and then ask him if his fish room is moist. And he'll know that the moist is somewhere in there, moist. It's not a curse. Don't worry. It's a blessing. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows it's a blessing to be moist. Okay. Pipe X with a $5 super chat. What is up, my guy? $5 super chat. Thank you, dude. That's big time. That's big time. $5 US. Alyssa says, we doing a membership measuring contest. Yes, we are. Aquarium Co-op and Alyssa currently tied at 37 months. Although I will say Corey is tied with the super chat record-breaking $500. That's the tied. There are 3 people at the top of the chart. Special kudos if anybody in the chat knows who the other 2 are. The other 2. Who are they? $5 super chat from Largemouth Bass says, since I already used my 36-month member chat, it doesn't seem like that long ago, though. Yeah, you got to watch out. Sometimes you get into a membership super chat comment thing, and then you may have used it already. So it might behoove people to save it to the end of the month so that you can flex it right at the end of the month on people, and don't flex it early, because then you just kind of got that in your back pocket whenever you can, like, flick it out there. Like I don't know what else you flick out there other than a booger, but yeah. Diabetes and diabetes testing supplies. You know what? I wish I knew. I wish I knew more about diabetes testing, and I could maybe give you some advice, but I don't. I don't know anything about it. Ooh, S says we need a moist tattoo. That's a good point. I know the guy that would tattoo that too. He's just up in Seattle, so maybe I'll go get a moist tattoo. If we get what should be the goal? What should be the goal to get a moist tattoo? What should be the goal? Should it be 100 members? Should it be 200 patrons? Should it be 500? Should it be 500 total? Should it be 500 total? Because that's Aubrey was going like, what happens when we hit 500? I think earlier. Oh my God, males, tails, furs, and fins. I didn't say hi to you, man. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say hi. I'm gonna say hi though. What should our goal be? Moist tattoo goal. Should we make a thing for it? Let's see. Add source. Text, webpage, media files, scene, streams, general widgets. Oh my God, look at these general widgets. We have a Skype widget and a video playlist. No, that's not going to work. A stream? No, we don't want to add a stream. YouTube widgets. Every time I've tried to use the super chat alert, it doesn't work. So we're not going to add that widget. That thing is useless. Let's go. I think the easiest way to do this is just with a text, right? And we just have to make it small. Which every time, oh my God, what am I doing here? Can I move that and make it smaller? I can't make it smaller until we make a thing. Okay. Moist. What do we go? Moist tattoo goal. And then a colon or yeah. Okay. So let's take this thing and we'll turn it into a font that's Calibri. No wonder it's the worst. All right, we'll go with Acme font because whatever. Why is it? Oh, it's automatic sized. So we need to make it a color. What color? Borange. There we go. We've got Borange the color. Yeah. And then can we put a shadow on it? Is that possible? Where's the little shadow? There's normally a box that allows you to put shadow on it. Style? Bold? No, not bold. Italic? Should it be italicized? No, that seems too like it's going too fast. When things get italicized, you know, you're starting to think like, it's a bit much, isn't it? Script? Do I have to click the script button? What? Oh, this is what time it is. If I hit script, it turns into the time clock? Oh, please turn that off. Oh, clock. Video list, custom script? Okay, well, I don't want that anymore. Oh my God. The script button is forever. If you accidentally click this script button, it doesn't go anywhere. It just will stay on forever. Can I turn it off? No. You can't turn this off. Cancel. I guess we got to cancel it. I don't know, guys. Maybe I should try this one more time. Let's go fast this time. Moist tattoo goal. Colon. Where are we at? Does anybody have any kind of agreement here? What the hell? Let's get ourselves a total here. 216. That's correct, of course. 216 out of 500. Let's just say we let's say we get to a total of 500. That will be our moist tattoo goal. Oh my God, where did it go? Did we lose it? We lost it. Oh Lord. Text. Is this it right here? No. Oh, whoa. What was that doing? Oh my God, it's the bonus text. Okay, we're gonna utilize this because I don't know what happened to the other one. Goal. I spelled that wrong. Goal, colon. 216 mark 500. Oh my God, it gave us wingdings. Look at that. It gave us a wingding. Guys, we got a wingding in the middle here. Okay. I don't know if anybody is going to figure that out. That doesn't make any sense because we don't have this. It made a wiggly smiley face. There we go. No, that made a comma? That's not even a comma. That's not... Oh, my God. This font is crazy. This font is just... Okay, the Avengers, Mightiest Avengers is out of control. Okay, there we go. We can give it a this. Now, can we shrink it down? That's the question. That's the question that everyone is asking. Everyone is asking, is it Alt that shrinks it down? Oh, that just makes that go like that. Okay, then we go like this, and we compress it. And then can we open the sides up? No, it won't let us do that. Oh, there we go. Then we can just put it down here. And people will just be like, what is going on? Oh, let's put it up here in the corner. Because it's a rolling, scrolling reminder. Okay. I think we should make it smaller, though. I think the font's too big. You guys think the font's too big? I heard you guys say that you think that the font is too big. Like, it's at 140. Let's take it down a notch. Let's take it down a notch. No, that's our total members and patrons. That's our total. That's our total members and patrons. So we'll make it confusing for everybody involved. Yeah. All right, let's go back to here so we can make everything normal. Oh my God, did everybody hit the like button today? Oh my God, everyone forgot. Everyone forgot to hit the like button today. It's a bummer. Everyone's bummed out. Let's see. I don't know what that means. Hashtag make damn appealing. I don't know what that means. Make damp. Oh, make damp appealing. Oh, I don't know how to read. I don't know how to read good or do other things good. You know how it is, bros. Most chocolate cake is the worst chocolate and the worst of cake. Except for flourless dark chocolate lava cake. We don't blaspheme about chocolate around here. You know what I mean? Unless it's milk chocolate, then that's just garbage. Everyone knows that's garbage. Dark chocolate is where it's at. Everyone knows that. I don't know, man. Your mom going to be so mad? My mom has told me several times a year since 86 that she would be mad if I got a tattoo. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have lots of tattoos. So, is my mom mad? Yes. Did she get over it? Yes. That I know of. Likely. Oh my God, you know what we need? Transition? No. Layout? Where's the shadow? I know that the shadow effect is in here somewhere. It's in the file. It's in the file. There it is. Drop shadow. Boom. Now, look at it. It's majestic. It doesn't seem to have a shadow, even though we gave it a shadow. It doesn't seem to have a shadow. Sorry. I thought it was going to be much more, I don't know, exciting. I thought people would be excited. Let's see. Ew? Who said ew? Ew, I hate that word moist. We should start stories in the comments one word at a time. Yes, Aubrey, it's a good way to just go crazy in the comments. Got to get into that moisture farming. True. Got to get into that moisture farming. That's how you can expect to live on Tatooine for sure. Michael Boulos says the goal is another $500 super chat. We like $500 super chats. I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? If people drop $500 super chats, I'm a fan of it. I don't know who would be pissed that somebody's like, here's $500. So yeah. What was Jack of all aquariums? Says, hey Joel, it's been a while since I've caught a stream. Well, what's up, man? What's going on? How you doing? It's been a while. Has it? I wouldn't know. But I'm gonna take your word. I'm gonna take your word on that it's been a while. The unfortunate thing is, like, I don't. It's difficult for me to track whether people are here or not. Because yeah, I don't know. Live on my channel, F. Oh, never mind. I'm dumb. I was like, what's this email I'm getting? Yeah. I think it's good. Could be a tad smaller. Is that better? Should I make it smaller? S, what do you think? You're the only one that seems to be commenting. Should I make the pixelation pixels smaller? It's at 100 now. Let's go to 89 because 89 feels smooth, you know? Oh, God, look at that. That's so much better. Should we go a different color? Like maybe make it a little moister. There we go. Now people are going to really struggle to read what it is. People are going to really struggle to read what it is. They're like, I don't know what's going on. There's some kind of weird blue font slowly rolling by. Blue? Green? Is anybody voting? Pink? Should we go pink? I can go pink. I don't mind. That's kind of fluorescent. I don't know about that fluorescent color. Let's go pink. Why not? So people will be like, oh my God, this guy has pink scroll on his screen. And I'll be like, yep. Because what does it matter? I was in the pink room there for a while. I'm in the green room again on Discord in case anybody wants to call in. Nobody wants to call in. I've noticed that people don't like calling in. Maybe I should open up a different Discord that just randos could call in on. Jake said, put it on your forehead and in a cursive like a sick tat, bro. I do have enough space on my forehead nowadays. I've always had like a prominent forehead, which I think people see as a sign of aggression, which I have really no control over. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I don't know what to do about that, you know, but I think people think it's a sign of aggression that they're like, my God, this dude's forehead's being aggressive to me. And I'll be like, I don't know what to do for you. Hot pink with the color this week. That's right. Hot pink is the color this week. Everybody says pink. They like pink. Okay, me too. I'll admit, I could get down with some pink jams, you know? Like, her music's not that bad. You know what I mean? It's purely pop music, and it's not super interesting. But, hey, man, if you're in that vibe, it's not a bad choice. I'm going to be honest with you. You need to fly by super fast so it's hard to read. Okay, I can accept that criticism. There is like a speed setting somewhere. I don't know where it is though. Well, it'll take a second to find it. Speed. Oh man, I think we can unlimited increase it. Oh my God. Now, how fast can we make it go? That's the question. Before it starts to freak out. Oh, I see what's going on here. It's running. We got to make the box bigger. I think we have to make the box larger so it can run off the screen properly, like this. There we go. There, like right about there. Okay, we'll do it like that. Michael says that's salmon colored. It's true. It does have like a salmon vibe. It's looking pretty pink. Do we have like a... See, the problem is like I don't have like a color scale here to work with. I have like... Here's these presets. So... I don't have like the color wheel I can normally work with, but... You know, this program is what this program is. There isn't much else I can do about that, though. But I could make a hot pink one that is just a file, and it can make the file move around. Mickham says, pink got good voice plus attitude. True. True facts. Yeah. So Alana, is that fast enough, or should I make it go faster? That's really the question. Mickham says vomiting sucks. That's my tattoo for the night. Oh, something you ate? Ooh, God, that food poisoning is that's bad. It's out there bad. You know what I mean? Like, whew, sorry, I don't wish that on my worst enemies. You know what I mean? I feel like my worst enemies deserve like a throat punch or something like that, but not food poisoning. Food poisoning is just bad news all around, and communicable. So be careful. Don't be giving that to other people. You know what I'm saying? Wash your hands. Wear a mask. You know, it's literally another instance where washing hands and wearing a face mask is important, which is one of those food service things that has been around forever. That, like, if you had a cold or a virus or something like that, when you're in the kitchen working with everybody else, you're supposed to wear a mask and wash your hands constantly. So, you know, that existed long before pandemic. Yeah. All right, well, what time is it? 3:51. Oh, my God, guys. We only have a limited amount of time here. We're running out of time. We are literally running out of time because I have to go run some wood through my planer and then cut it, like, I have to make some round cuts to it and shape it into a bolster. I got to make a bolster for somebody. So that's got to happen. Ba-ba-ba. Yeah. Which is, I got about an hour and a half to finish that up before the girls are home, and then make them dinner because it's Monday night. I always make dinner on Monday night. I make dinner most nights unless we're out driving around looking for a house. And I ate KFC chicken sandwiches the other day, and I felt like I was going to die about an hour later. And then I felt really tired about an hour after that. And I slowly recovered. And then eventually just went to bed. So it was all good. Chat has slowed down for sure. So we've definitely reaching the end of the day. Nobody called in, so I'm going to hang up on the Discord real quick and double check the... Never going to be... Oh, okay. I'm going to check the comments on the old Discord. Let's see. Let's see. Do. Okay. There's nothing crazy interesting over there. How about there are 6 different words on the screen and they are all different colors? Oh, I like how there are about 6 different words. Yeah, it's true. I've got everything like all kind of different colored on here. We have no cohesive scheme, you know? I feel like every time I set something up for the stream, it's sort of just like, hey, man, what feels right? For some reason, the Patreon numbers are bigger than the members' numbers. And I don't know why. Maybe I could shrink them down so that they match. Let's see. Yeah, for whatever reason, these used to match up, but then now they got sized differently. Who knows why? They're kind of close now. They're close-er. I feel like this needs to get bigger, though. Like that? Well, but now they're all like off-center. I don't know. Whatever. I'll fix it later. It's good to fix stuff like this during the stream because people are like, man, this is intense content. I better stay here for this. Jake Vargo says, do you have a Discord link? Yes, Jake, you are a member. So let me give you the quick instructions. It's pretty simple. Go to the main YouTube page and click on the community tab and scroll down until you find a member post that says that. I will likely go refresh the member post at some point in time. I don't want to promise it today because I might forget whilst rolling down the stream. But then because you're a member, you can click through to the link and it'll send you right over to Discord. It'll just immediately connect you to it. Or give you the prompt to download the software in order to run Discord, which is, it's not a lot. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like a news headline or something. Yeah. Yep. The moist tattoo goal. Patreons are cooler. Alana is a patron. So I would think that's why you would say that, which is fine. Patreon also allows you to do whatever you like as far as whatever you want to. Oh my God, I clicked the inspect button instead of the paste button. Has that ever happened to you before? That happened to me. Just meow. There's the Patreon link in case you want to go over there and do a custom patronage. You can do whatever dollar amount you want there. You could do $1.23 a month. You could do $123 a month. You could do whatever you want. You can customize it. If you go for 12 months, you get 10% off. So just think of the deals. And somebody asked me why there isn't a dollar tier on YouTube. Because I never set up a dollar tier. When it got introduced, I set up a $5 tier and a $100 tier. And then I never set up a different one until I set up some different ones. And by then, I felt like it would be shortchanging all of the $5 members on YouTube. So I was like, you can just go over to Patreon if you want to do $1 a month. That's just how I was like, there we go. So, but that's the end of the show. We learned a lot today. We talked about some feels. We got some super chats. We got a new member. I'm trying to find the new member right now because the new member button on the screen here doesn't work anymore. You click over to viewer activity and it just, for whatever reason, does not work anymore. I don't know why. Thanks, YouTube, for providing buttons that don't work properly. But John Bruner became a member today, and we very much appreciate that. Brings us up to 77. We also got super chats from Pipex, Rommel, and Largemouth Bass. Thank you very much, guys. First time, long time. Thank you. Appreciate you. Hope you all have a fantastic week. Tomorrow is the craziest day in the calendar of all time. 2/2/2/2/2/2/2/2/2. Tomorrow's date is this, basically. It's totally crazy. I don't know what's going on with that. It's just bonkers. And so you should revel in the date tomorrow. Today was President's Day, and we don't care. So that wraps it up. And we talked about a bunch of stuff, why we got into the fish tanks and all that. So if you showed up late, be sure to watch the replay and share it out with your grandma and become a member and blah, 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 blue, blue. It's the end of the show.